Neville, I heard you're getting the COVID shot.
Yes, we are.
How lucky you are, Neville.
Well, I'm not going to be lucky, but a few people will be ahead of the queue. But there is a conspiracy. Some people are going to pay for this.
Well, to know more about this, subscribe to our channel and dive into this discussion, which is coming up right now. Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant, and welcome to Top Brass. And let me welcome my friend from UK, Mr. Neville Bond.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. The news of the day is vaccine fever. Thank God someone has created a vaccine.
Neville, UK government has started a stir, and it's a big news globally. The Indians are now demanding the vaccine, and work has to really take the fast pace to provide the vaccine for the Indians. And as of today's tally in the morning, we have reached 10 million patients, COVID patients, with a survival rate of almost 93%. So it's very high, but I think we need a vaccine to basically stay relevant in the business area.
Well, like anything else, I grew up with vaccines. I was given vaccines from when I was a very small baby, even before I can remember. Measles, mumps, rubella, the MMR vaccine, which 7 or 8 years ago had a huge rebellion. It was causing after effects, etc., etc. Well, 10 years ago, I was 50, and 50 years prior to that, I had the injection. And yeah, there may be evidence that there may be some long-term issues with a small number of people, but that's a risk you take with a vaccine. The issue is, without the vaccine, what's happening? And you said you've hit 10 million people, although there's a high level of success. But 7% of those people have died. That is unacceptable, really. A government, humanity really cannot do that. More people are dying there than are dying in the wars. The wars to end all wars, World War One, World War Two, etc., etc. So humanity needs to, stand up and be counted. And the other thing is, this is just the first vaccine. Some people say it's been pushed through. It's been pushed through too fast. We don't know the long-term effects. Well, we're never going to know the long-term effects but we do know that the long-term effects of catching this virus actually are quite catastrophic. We cannot continue to be unprotected when this virus is out there. And clearly, wearing a mask, washing our hands, keeping clean is not a long-term solution to this particularly nasty virus. And the other thing is, this virus, as we've already found, is changing its status. We've already heard we've heard of a mink farm in Denmark being affected. So this is just one virus which will change its characteristic and be stronger over time. So it's not least to say it's closed the world down for a number of months. We cannot afford for that to happen again.
Neville, I think you said it rightly. We all need the vaccine. Before I start, my understanding of what is going on in this part of the world, I just want to correct the impression that you got. The fatalities in India are less than 100,000. So if we believe this data, the fatalities are less than 100,000, but still very high. In a matter of 8 months, 100,000 people have died, and they died in a matter of minutes, in a matter of hours. The COVID was identified, and next day they were dead. So the effect of COVID was so fierce. However, survival is 93%. That means 8% of the people are still suffering from COVID. The 93% people have gone to hospitals and come back. So we don't know really whether they are the carriers or they have beaten the disease. I don't think we have the data right now. Um, However, when we talk about the vaccine, it usually takes roughly about 5 years to 10 years and a lot of permutation combinations before it is announced successfully to the for the masses. So in this case, it's less than a year, and we are seeing so many vaccines being talked about today. So there is Oxford vaccine, there is Sputnik from Russia, there are three from India, there are maybe US, and then this Pfizer, which is now starting next week. Do you really feel that these vaccines are real, or do you feel as a citizen of UK, do you feel that these vaccines are going to work?
Oh, it's a great question, CK, and if you look at the normal transition, and they're saying it on the TV, and eminent doctors are saying it on the TV, the ones that are actually telling their parents to, as soon as they're offered the vaccine, take it. These are established people in the profession. I mean, you and I have got no. Um, we're not trained in this world of pharmaceuticals or indeed human biology. So we are not the authoritative body here. So we can only take advice from those that we trust with their experience, with their knowledge. And I think the word trust is really important here because they're the ones that are saying normally it takes 10 years. They're not hiding this fact. It normally takes 10 years for any vaccine like this to go through the process, to get all of the patients through, all of the guinea pigs, as they've been called, through the process year after year after year, and then go through the efficacy of the independent testing by the authoritative approving bodies. And it normally takes 10 years. But they know that the focus has been so intense that they've crammed 10 years worth of development into a year. And Professor Van Dam, he's the eminent body in the UK, has said that's exactly what's happened. This is an unusual circumstance where we've had so much evidence, so many examples, so many people that have caught this virus that they've had lots and lots more opportunity to study what's been going on. And remember, China threw out the initial DNA strand of what this virus was back in January or February of this year. And it was openly available. They didn't hide it. They didn't say, this is our, proprietary information. They put it out on the public arena. And all of the eminent developers, all of these companies that produce vaccines on a regular basis, saw that DNA strand. And they all turned around and said, can we attack this? Have we the resources? We need to do our bit for mankind. And it wasn't an Indian company looking at India, and it wasn't a UK company looking at the UK. These are scientists that look at problems that the global community has got. Remember, this wasn't just a restricted little infection. This is a zombie virus. So all of the eminent authorities are going to be looking at this. They're going to be talking about this. The airwaves, would have been full of all information going backwards and forwards. And remember, these are scientists. They only deal with facts. They deal with anomalies as well, but they will look at this from a very stringent arena. I mean, that's my belief, and because that's what I'm told. And I know a few people in the industry, and that's their integrity, if you like, being challenged. So has this been, a lot of people saying this has been rushed through, we haven't had the testing. I just believe that the focus has been so intense globally that the best brains have been pushed at this for probably longer than it would have been over the 10-year period, because it's been so focused. That's my belief. I think people have been going into their labs and they've just been working on this one specific strand, whereas previously they were probably working on 20 or 30. So when we look at, as business people, we know about focus. When we're really focused on something, we can push something through in 2 weeks, whereas it would have taken us maybe 2 years without that focus, without that evidence, without the information. So just from an entrepreneurial basis here, I think we can say, yeah, I can believe that it's been that fast because the focus has been there.
So, Neville, I think what you're saying and what you've heard from the senior eminent people in UK, I think it makes a lot of sense. I personally see two different kinds of threats in this arena. One is that the manufacturers themselves are saying that it has a success rate of only 60 to 70%. That means that 30% people will not show positive signs of recovery after, getting this inoculation done. So that is threat number one. That means 30% of people are still not out of the threat, and we don't know which one. The second threat I see is that we have worked very hard to inform or sort of train people about social distancing, washing your hands, wearing a mask. I think when people who are vaccinated, they start dropping their guard and they start, you know, thinking, hey, we are inoculated, so virus won't affect us. I think that is the second threat we have, that in the immediate vicinity of getting the vaccination done, some people may act, in a different way and drop their guard and then help in spreading the virus further. What do you have to say about this?
Well, again, you're absolutely right. I mean, firstly, let's look at what is currently available. Forget COVID. Okay, COVID is a flu strain. Each year, I get the flu virus. It's commonly available around the world. In some countries, you pay for it. In some countries, you don't have to pay for it. In the UK, I'm at a particular age and I don't pay for it. But if I wanted it, I could pay for it. And it costs about £10. Okay, so we're talking 10,000 rupees, I think, approximately.
No, 1,000.
If I've got 1,000. I thought it was 100.
100,
100 to the pound.
10. So 10, 1,000 rupees.
1,000. I beg your pardon. I'm a mathematician. I've even got that wrong. Okay, 1,000 rupees, which isn't a huge amount of money for what it protects you. But from an efficacy point of view, does it work? Okay, that's the first question. Every year I get the flu jab, my doctor tells me, well, actually, there's probably a slightly better chance than 50%. So in other words, of all the flu viruses that are going to hit this year, and apparently I'm told, I could be wrong here, but I'm told there are over 100 flu strains that come along each year, and they're all different. They've all got a slight difference. There's only a 50% chance that I will get protected for the one that's going to hit the UK arena. Now, I've been lucky in the last 3 years in that I've had the flu jab, and like anything else, there's a bit of pain for a couple of days, where it's like a muscle spasm. And the last 3 or 4 years, I've had no further side effects, not even a sniffle, which I've had in the past. But in previous years, I've been knocked out for 2 weeks. Just physically, feeling dreadful for 2 weeks because, perhaps I just wasn't protected. So when they put out the request for the vaccine, they were only looking at efficacy of better than 50%. Now, we've seen efficacy of over 70%, and in some cases, 95%. So we're in a far better position, one would say, than we are with the normal flu jab. We all accept the flu jab in the UK, certainly in the Western world. I don't know, how prevalent it is in India, but we just accept it. It is just a way of life. And maybe this COVID is just another flu jab that we might have to take, every year. And as you said a little earlier, people are carriers. They don't know they're carriers. It's not affected them at all. They're just carriers. Their body is carrying the virus. It's not affecting them, but they are carriers. And maybe they're carriers for the rest of their life. We don't know unless they're regularly tested. I'm not even too sure, to be honest with you. Again, I'm not the authoritative body here. I'm not even too sure if you're tested, whether you will be tested positive as a carrier. I have no idea. But there are carriers and they do pass it on. So we still have to be diligent. We still have to look at our personal hygiene. In the business world, we talk about being a space invader. In other words, don't get too close to people when you're talking to them because it's disrespectful, it's insulting. You're invading their space. So I think these, you know, face space issues will continue for some considerable time. But they're the right thing to do anyway. It's personal hygiene in many respects.
Absolutely. So I think that with a pinch of salt, we can welcome the move of the UK government, and I'm sure other governments will also bring it as per their regulations and as per their approval processes for the citizens of their own country. So I think we are all eagerly waiting with a pinch of salt that we cannot afford to let our guard down. We have to continue practicing the social distancing, personal hygiene, and mask. And so I think I feel that by next week they will start giving you the shots. Naval, what is the plan now?
Oh, yes. I mean, there is a very strict operation that will take place. We're told that 800,000 will be coming into the UK within the next 10 days. Already, I believe they've been allocated, and they've been allocated in a smart way. It's the frontline workers, it's the nurses and doctors, it's the care workers that are literally the ones most at risk. Equally, the others that are most at risk are the elderly and the ones that have got other issues to deal with, whether they're asthmatic or whether they've got other respiratory diseases. So there will be a clear pecking order here. We believe that you can't jump the order, and just because you've got money, you can get the vaccine, because it will be strictly controlled, just like anything else. I mean, even the flu jab is fairly strictly controlled. The other thing is, as we do know, this particular vaccine, it needs to be stored at incredibly low temperatures. So it's not the sort of thing that you can just put in your handbag and carry it around for a couple of weeks. They need to be stored at, minus 70 odd degrees, which is an imposition. It's a specific issue that they have to deal with. So it's a logistic nightmare coming down the pike. The authorities clearly have dealt with this type of vaccine before, dealt with these storage temperatures before, and it's only got a shelf life of 5 days in a normal refrigerator. So we're talking about, there need to be some fairly strict logistical controls around the use of this vaccine. Otherwise, whoever gets it and it's literally past its sell-by date, it'll be a waste of time anyway. So, well, there are still hurdles to go through. The other vaccines, we're told, don't have such stringent requirements, but this is the first. So let's hope that 800,000 people, and they'll need to have 2 injections apparently. So it's one and then a booster. So if we've got 800,000 coming through, let's assume that that's 800,000 people by Christmas, let's say, by 3 weeks' time, will be well on the way to being protected. And then let's just hope by Easter, the rest of the world is actually on that route.
So
Because we
Neval,
have to kill this off.
certainly, I think we look forward to getting out of this situation. But is it going to cost a lot of money, Neval, or is it going to be free, funded by Exchequer?
It will be free. I mean, as you know, in the UK, the National Health Service is free at the point of need. This is definitely identified as a point of need, so it falls into that free category. So in time, I expect, you know, if you want to have it, you'll be able to pay for it. But frankly, I think we're a year away from that anyway. But certainly in the UK. But in the first instance, yes, it will definitely be free, and I'll happily receive it as soon as my name comes out of the hat.
Fantastic. So we wish you all the best, and we also look forward to the success on this project. And viewers, we will be covering about this as a new development happens, because this is so important for the entire mankind, and we will be talking about it. Naval, thank you for coming today morning and sharing the modus operandi about the vaccination process. We'll catch up tomorrow again.
Good to see you, CK. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.